In addition to getting a camping trailer to pull behind your motorcycle, you need a hitch and wiring. Let's take a look at the hitch and wiring kits I bought. Welcome back to EasyMoto Tim. In an earlier video, I showed you the delivery and assembly of the timeout standard trailer we bought. In this video, I'll show you the hitch and wiring I installed on our Harley Road Glides. This is the hitch I bought from Timeout. It's made by Fat Baggers. It consists of a hoop with the receiver and the part that goes into receiver and holds the ball, and two support brackets. It comes with instructions, which aren't very good. The pictures are in color, but dark. Oh yes, there's also a bag of hardware that you need for connecting it. It's called a hidden hitch because when you take this out, you don't see the hitch bracket, which is hidden behind the fender. You start by jacking up the bike and removing the top bolt of each shock absorber. If your bike has the tri-bar light assembly, remove it next. You'll need to remove the nut and loop that hold the wiring in place inside the fender. Then remove the fender hoop. Now you notice that this Road Glide Special, just like the Street Glide Special, and I guess the CVOs, have this tri-bar, which is a tail light. And this piece, this tri-bar, includes the plastic that goes all the way up on each side. There are 3 nuts on each side that you remove in order to pull down the tri-bar and to give yourself room to get the bracket in. There's also a fender stud on the inside about here. You have to remove the nut and the washer and the wire clamp that attaches, and then you'll be able to remove the stock hoop. This is the stock hoop that supports the back end of the fender. You remove 2 bolts and the nut from the fender stud and remove this, and it's not reused with this hitch setup. The instructions say to remove the top bolt of the shock absorber and jack the back of the bike up a little bit to give yourself more room to work. You remove the screw that goes into the fender strut. It's not reused. They give you a new screw, and this bar attaches last. So you remove the bolts that are 1 bolt on each side. You keep those and reuse them. Now, it wasn't clear to me just how this bracket fits in here, but the ear that sticks out on the side, it goes on the forward side of the bracket that supports the saddlebags. So on each side, the ear fits forward, and that bracket then slides in. And you put the existing screws back in to hold it. Then you install this support brace with screws and nuts that they provide in the parts kit. Remember, when you reinstall the top bolt of your shock absorber, to use some Loctite and a torque wrench to torque it to the specs according to what's in the Harley service manual. So that's what the hitch looks like all installed. There's the ball and the bracket that you can connect the safety chains to. The wiring is plug and play and consists of several modules. The modules you'd buy depend on whether your bike has the body control module or not. The instructions for the wiring are pretty clear. The one thing they emphasize is that you need to keep the circuit grounded or you risk burning out the modules. I connected the ground wire to the frame so it wouldn't get disconnected when removing the battery. The other very important thing to know is that you cannot assume that the wires from the control module connect to the wires of the same color of the cable going to the trailer. Follow the instructions, and I suggest you draw a sketch of the connections. This is the wiring harness I purchased from Timeout, and they're made by Electrical Connection. There are 3 modules. First is the sub-harness for Harley-Davidson. That plugs into the wiring that goes to the back of the bike. The next module is the CAN bus module. Because this is a 2014 or newer bike, the bike has a CAN bus system, and you need a module to isolate the CAN bus from the trailer wiring. The third is an isolator, which isolates the wiring on the bike side from the wiring on the trailer. It's basically an electronic relay that separates the two circuits. And this connector goes on the bike, and that came with the trailer. Didn't buy that separately. There are instructions for each of these modules. They're well written and clear. You just have to be sure to plug things together according to the instructions for your model bike. And then you have to connect with the output of the isolator with the cable that goes to your bike. And you can't line them up by the wire color. There's no standard for wire colors for trailer wiring, and so you have to match the function of the output of the isolator to the wire on the trailer that does that same thing. Then there are two long wires. The red and white wires are connected to the battery, plus and minus. To install the wiring, I started at the back of the bike and determined how much length I needed to dangle to connect to the trailer. And I bought separately a rubber connector to protect the pins when I'm not using the trailer. I wrapped the wires in this spiral conduit. I routed the wiring up along here, behind here, and along the fender strut. I tie wrapped it to the holes that are in the fender strut made just for that purpose. I routed the wiring underneath here and snaked it underneath here into the what I call the wiring bay underneath the seat. Then put all the modules, tucked them down in, and connected the output of the isolator to the wires that go to the trailer. Used heat shrink tubing and heat shrink butt splice connectors. I did install a fuse in the plus side and put it on this side so it would be easy to get to, and I wouldn't have to take the seat off to get to it. I also provided a ground and grounded it right here on this screw. That screw won't be removed when you change the battery, and that ground needs to stay connected all the time. When I'm not using the trailer, I take the connector and I've routed it back here, tuck it in behind here, and I'll see how that works, see if it stays put. That's it for the installation of the wiring harness. The Hitch installation is pretty straightforward. For the wiring, you'll need to figure out the best routing on your bike. In the video, you see the installation I did on my Road Glide Custom. I traded that bike for a Road Glide Ultra and moved the hitch and wiring. It was very easy to move everything. I'd like you to know there are other videos in this series about our timeout trailer. The first one is about the delivery and assembly of the trailer. Here's the timeout trailer we got. It's on a large pallet. They couldn't roll it in. I added water and gasoline packs to the front of the trailer. To undo it, you loosen this handle a couple of times until you can turn the retaining bar, and then you can pull the pack off. There's one on installing a solar panel. So here we have the completed project with the solar panel mounted to the top of the trailer. I did a video about the collection of enhancements we made to the trailer. Here's the tethered carabiner attached to the trailer. You just clip it in and you're all set to go. If you found this video useful, please leave a comment and a thumbs up. If you want to support the channel, please visit the Amazon pages on my website where I have affiliate links to products I use. There's also a page with the timeout trailer and all the accessories we bought. Many thanks to those of you who bought me a cup of coffee on buymeacoffee.com. In any case, I appreciate your support and all the positive comments. I'll see you in the next video.